I'm Karen Monaco. I'm a mystic and intuitive guide for feminine healers and light workers. I support them in stepping fully into their spiritual mission and building heart-aligned businesses. My reaction, where I'm from, I'm currently living in Tampa, Florida, but I am originally from New Jersey. And then my reaction to being a ruler, I think the reaction was just like, oh, this is why everything is so hard, because I am living so out of alignment with who I am on an energetic level. So it was eye-opening, it was heart-opening, and it was transformational. My life is so different now. My business is designed completely different. And it was a result of the learning about the ruler, the alchemist, and the connector as well.
So many of us have suppressed that ruler part of ourselves because we were told we were bossy from a really young age. And I would love to hear, is that something that's happened to you, Karen? What's your relationship with being the boss, being a leader, being a ruler, being in charge?
So I think that's why I struggle to hire anyone to support me in my business, and why I've been a one-woman show since day one. But things are quickly changing with that, like opening up to that. But I also find that with my clients come to me because of the ruler energy of the, like, no, we're going to get this done. Like, we're going to launch this business. We're not going to mess around. We're not going to work towards perfection. We're going to get it done. And sometimes I come up against, ooh, if I say it too forcefully, I'm too bossy, or I'm too, nudgy, like, are they going to stop liking me? Are they going to no longer work with me? When the reality is that's what they need. And that's why they're coming to me. So I've stepped into it. It was a mindset shift I had to have. And definitely this supported that for sure.
You called bossy as a kid? What was your, like, where did that come, that ruler stuff, where did that kind of first appear for you?
Probably being the only girl with two older brothers, and I got a lot of what I wanted. And like, I took a lot of tantrums as a kid because I knew what I wanted. And but really, like, throughout life, it has, now that we're talking about it, it has presented itself and been an issue. Like, I typically, when I worked for other people, I did know more than them. And I did have a hard time following direction because I found a quicker and easier, a more cohesive way of doing things. So yeah, I think it's something that's probably, now that we're chatting, has followed me my whole life.
I think for rulers too, it's being too big for your boots, right? Or being shamed for that, or being too fast, or, overshadowing other people. What's coming up for you around this conversation?
So it's so funny because the acting and the parts in the play are very much a part of my history as well. I was a theater undergrad, and I just remember always being told, oh, you're just being dramatic, or you're just one of those theater kids, or you just always have to be different. The spotlight always needs to be on you. And I think that the impact of that happened, I think for a really long time, it didn't impact me. And then once I was out on my own, once I was in my business, and it was like, should I be this confident? Because then it's like, I've been called arrogant a lot for knowing my stuff. And I wonder if that's a ruler thing often, because I do know what I'm talking about. I am very good at what I do. I can make magic happen. But like, sometimes when I say that to people who aren't also confident, it's like, whoa, slow your roll, chick, like, and the too big for your britches. So yeah, it's definitely resonating. And it's something that even just very recently I've come up against in really being able to go to the next level. And so that reminds me of, like, how you always say, new level, same devil, over and over and over again.
Absolutely. I think the thing too of, like, the arrogance of the confidence of people going, you think you're so good, and there's a lot of, I remember hearing that even in, like, grade, I don't know, 7 or 8, where someone said to me, oh, you think you're so good. I was like, but I am like, I do know what I'm talking about. So, and I think depending on where you grew up, you hear different versions of that, right? Of like, you're too big for your boots, too big for your britches. This is very crass, but I heard this in my town of like, you think your shit don't stink. I don't know if that translates to any other culture, but where I grew up, and it is that thing of going, well, who are you to be so confident, especially as a woman? You know, that's a double whammy thing too. And I'm sure you guys have heard this of going, wow, you're quite confident for a young lady, aren't you? And I was like 35 when I last heard that. I was like, yeah, I am. So where has that created some dial down for you? Like, has it ever come up, and business, life, wherever, you know, where has that come up of going, I'm just going to dial this down? It could have been in a mastermind, it could have been in a group, it could have been with a mentor where you're just like, oh, I'm actually not going to put my hand up for this, or I'm not going to do it. Karen, while you're fresh, do you want to jump in, and then Reefa, you can go on this one?
Yeah, I think that that's been present throughout all of life in every little pocket, but definitely within business. What I have caught myself doing a couple of times is when I'm creating content, it's like I'm putting the content together, and then I also like naturally find myself somehow like backhandedly putting myself down, like needing to air out my stuff, like saying, I know I'm not perfect, or it's just like finding a way to kind of, I guess you would say, undercut myself. And I've really been very intentional in pulling that stuff out. Because it was not in a way where I was humanizing myself. I was almost like downplaying my gifts, my skills, and my abilities so other people could feel more comfortable.
You were saying, Karen, right at the top about hiring and about how you really struggled to hire as a ruler. I would love to hear about your sabotages around that, and any other sabotages that you've seen around that thing of just, you know, being a ruler and wanting to do things fast and doing things yourself.
Well, the hiring challenge is mostly just taking the first step, and it falls into that ruler challenge really of there's not enough money for it yet. There's never enough money for it yet. But the other thing is, for the struggle for me right now is even knowing what to outsource, because I've become quite adept at doing all the things. It's like, oh, I don't know, what can I give away? And then if I give it away, are they going to do it the right way? So that's kind of been the challenge for me. And really, I think it comes into stepping back into that confidence of being able to lead a team, being able to manage an employee. I think that's definitely kind of at the crux of it. But I struggle to accept help, you know, in all ways, not just, you know, expanding it outside of my business. My ex-husband took my daughter for an extra weekend, and I was like, oh, that's too much help. Like, I cannot accept that extra time. You know, or he'll like send, you know, extra money or something like that. And I'm like, no. And it's not because he's my ex, it's because like, for whatever reason, accepting help, accepting that even if I don't need it, or, you know, accepting help that I don't need is just, hard.
What other challenges is your ruler bringing up before SMA? What were your challenges that your ruler was bringing up for you in your business?
Definitely over delivery. You know, I would be promoting like, hey, I'll deliver this mountain. And then I would show up and deliver the mountain and the heavens as well. And it resulted in me being incredibly burnt out. SMA landed in my lap at like the worst moment in my business. And it kind of changed the trajectory of how I did or like changed the trajectory of my course, because I was just doing, you know, I was showing up every single day. I was, you know, anything that any mentor recommended that I do, I did it. And so I was working like 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks, barely making rent, you know? And when I started to explore the ruler and this idea of over delivery. It wasn't an over promising, because I would deliver on the promise and then, go to great lengths in order to be enough of value to people. And so I've cut my hours. I work like 20 to 30 hours a week. My income has expanded. I love my business. I love the way I get to show up now. But yeah, so that was it. But it was really a mindset shift of, it doesn't have to be so hard. And I think that, all of life, certain things have come easily, and it's almost like I was penalized for how easy certain things came. And then, so I started to do things the hard way. Even if there was a shortcut, I would not take it. And so I started to really embrace that I'm here to, create with grace and ease, and make money with grace and ease, and gift that to other people as well. Show them it doesn't have to be hard. There is another way. But that, and then, again, like kind of my negative mindset of being in lack. And that took a lot of time to really get in there and reprogram. But it started with the ruler and the alchemist, actually, too.
How are your other archetypes connecting with your ruler? Do you have things that make your ruler sabotages harder? Do some of them cancel out? Like, tell me about your combination and how it shows up in good and bad ways.
So with I was surprised that the alchemist was second, because I felt so aligned with that, like the problem solving, the ideas, like never being, that I could just like sell sessions and be an idea person. Like that just resonated. I struggle with my connector. I'm an introvert, mostly because I think the world has made me feel like my extroverted side is too much. So the introvert, I would prefer to have like minimal contact. I don't necessarily want to be out there connecting people or having constant interaction with others. So at times I think my connector, like I need to kind of focus on the connector a little bit more and nurture that side of me, because I know it's in there. I know that the world has kind of shut it, like I've been guided to shut it down. But yeah, so I'm not necessarily, I think that the alchemist and the ruler complement one another quite beautifully, but that connector, it's like I would rather that not hear that message. I would rather not that be here sometimes.
Does your connector side struggle with the pricing, or your ruler side just shuts that down and it's fine?
It did for a really long time. In January, I doubled my prices and I didn't think twice about it. It was just like, I've been undercharging for way too long. And I just let people know, like, this is the new price and I hope you'll stay, but it's cool if you don't. The ruler did take over. Yeah.
And what about your ruler alchemist around ideas and shiny objects? How do you deal with that?
To be honest, that's, I think, where they complement one another. I recently had to make the decision. I had an offer out there. It wasn't selling it the way I wanted it to. It was taking a lot of my time, and I had to make this decision to let it go. And so I was able to easily do that because I know I have notebooks and journals and I have ideas coming out my ears. And so I've been able to somehow figure out how to stay focused. And it's interesting because I think very early on, I learned about my shiny object syndrome, and maybe this is how it sabotages me. I went in the opposite direction where I became hyper focused and uber committed to like, this has to work. Because I can't look flighty. I can't jump around. I can't try, I can't say, oh, this doesn't work out. So I do think sometimes, and this might be just me, but I can take it in the opposite direction where I know my challenges and I know the pitfalls. And so I go, I walk over to the other line.
I hear you. I actually had that exact realization this week because I have loved putting together SMA. I have had so much creativity around it, But also I had this massive amount of guilt because I was like, no, I've been telling people all roads lead to boot camp. I'm super focused on boot camp. Like I'm not that flighty person, because that's how I was, I think, for a long time. I was like, this business idea, and not because it was just because I was trying to find my thing. And so I felt like I almost had to apologize to people for how much time and energy and creativity I'm spending on SMA, because I've been telling people to focus. Mm-hmm. And it's like that thing of unlearning, is that sometimes maybe rulers shut down that creative side of us a little bit to go, no. And because we're good at doing things even if we don't like them necessarily,
Mm-hmm. And I shared, actually, it was just this morning that I shared, I'm ending this one offer so that I can focus on my next thing within my membership community. And multiple women were like, thank you so much for saying that, because it's almost like letting us know we have permission to shift. And this comment, I was a little like, oh, I don't know how I received that. But she was like, one of them was like, not everybody, you don't have to have it all together to be successful. You can make these changes and pivots, and it's all okay. So I think that's part of that ruler leadership that we can step into.
Do you have a bit of perfectionism sometimes around that?
My perfectionism comes up when I think I'm going to fail. Like, to get out and get going, it doesn't bite me in the ass. I don't know if I can say ass, but okay. So in terms of getting started, it doesn't bite me in the ass, but like making the pivot of this isn't working, this isn't aligned. It's like, no, but I said I was going to do it. And so I have to do it. I have to see it through, like, to the conclusion. That's where it screws me.
Yeah, because how? Tell me how it screws you.
Just staying in like, for offerings, staying in romantic relationships long past their expiration date, because an ending is like admitting defeat. It's admitting there's something wrong with me, even though maybe the offer was only meant to be to get people through the 2020 crisis. Maybe it was, so really learning to accept that endings are not failures. And again, in relationships, not just romantic, but friendships with clients, endings aren't failures. It's growth is what I'm learning.
I think that's really profound, because that admitting defeat thing is really tricky for people, especially rulers, right? And I hate not being good at stuff. I did I signed up for pole dancing classes and I was really bad at it. And it was so hard for me just to go, well, I just want to quit. Like, if something's not immediately easy for me, I'm out, because it's like rulers, we are quickly good at things, right? But that permission to shift, where I think that's interesting is that we're here to be leaders for other people, for sure. And I noticed that my audience loves when I screw up. They love it. And so I was saying to my film guy for SMA, I was like, you have to keep all of the bloopers. And he was like, oh, there was a water bottle in that shot, let's redo it. And I went, no, that is gold for my audience, because they like seeing when I make a mistake, because it makes them feel better about themselves. But as a ruler, I find that hard sometimes to admit to those mistakes. And as you said, admitting defeat is really tricky, because it's like, no, I'll just work harder than anyone else. Yeah. Do you want to just say one more thing on that, Karen, and then we'll come to you, Reefa?
No, it is when something starts going south or doesn't go as planned, I think the ruler in me internalizes it, and I go into the crux of it. I'm not enough. I didn't do enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't capable, just running through that list, which never ends in anything positive. So that's where a lot of the mindset work has come in, where it's like, sometimes offers are time limited. Sometimes, many times, relationships are time limited, and really not taking it as such a personal, not using it to attack my personal worth or my sense of self.
it's like we immediately forget the good things that we've done, like immediately. And even after that whole week of SMA filming, where I was like filming till midnight every night, I got so much done. For the next couple of days, I mean, we decided to push the launch, which was good because we were just going to have to work so hard to edit everything. And part of me was like, we'll just manipulate time and space and do it. And then I went, oh, I can push it. And part of me was, oh my God, that's admitting defeat. But actually the other part was going, oh, so I don't have to work this weekend. And I was literally like, I felt so deflated. And I was just like, what am I going to do with myself now? And it was that feeling of not enoughness. And I had my friends go, oh, you must be so thrilled with yourself and so proud that you got through all this filming. And I was like, I guess, because it was just like, but it's not enough. I could have done more videos. I could have done this. I could have done this. And it was just like this real feeling of like, not enough, not enough. Okay, there's just a couple of things I'd love to hear. If you don't have to answer on this, but have you created passive income in your business? That's one question I would love to ask. And then the other question, and we can do these separately, is there something that really turns you off buying a program, whether it's from your rule or from your other archetypes? Like, is it just a little thing you always go, ugh? And what makes you go, oh, this is for me? So Karen, do you want to just start with the passive income thing, whether you have it or not, but even just what stopped you from creating passive income? What's helped you, make it easy, things like that?
So I have been running a membership site for 3 years, and very recently I started taking some of that content and repackaging it and sending it out as a option around the full moon each month. I do a lot of astrology based work, and so people can purchase it as kind of like a one-off, and then hopefully eventually will navigate their way or kind of move themselves into my fuller membership. But I have like 3 years of content that was just sitting there. And one day I was sick. I was sick in bed, and I was like, I need something to do. I need to work. And it dawned on me, in the first round was really successful, and the second round that I did it was also quite successful. So I'm looking forward to the next one too. But yeah, so passive income, check.
Yay. What, did you have any resistance around passive income? Because as you said, you've created so much, right? So creation is never a problem for rulers and alchemists, never a problem. But sometimes it's getting your head around the fact that you can get paid for things that you already created instead of just working more and working harder. Is there anything that you had to overcome around that?
It was honestly just sitting down and getting it done, because I am always inundated with new ideas, and I'm also always creating content for my current membership. And I think if that it was just a really awful cold. I think if that hadn't taken me out, I would have just sat there and always put passive income on the back burner. But then I saw how easy it was. Like, it took me 20 minutes to put the package together and do the first email, and like maybe 15 minutes to do a follow-up email. And I think I saw how easy it was, and I was all in from that moment on. So yeah.
And that's the cool part too with rulers. It's like, because you can get things done so quickly, it's like speed to market. Whereas some of the archetypes overthink things, is this the right thing? It's like the ruler part of you is just like, well, I'll just put it out and see if people like it. But tell me about your membership model, because for connectors and for alchemists too, that can be such a great business model, because you can be a prolific creator, right? And send it out to people. But then I find that sometimes pure connectors really struggle to charge for that, or they do things with their membership sites like going, oh, I'll just cap it because I want to know everyone so intimately. Did any of that come up for you around picking that business model that helped your prolific creation?
Well, I mean, it's just a wonderful space for me to channel all of my gifts and all of my creations into. What I recently uncovered when I was doing some of the money bootcamp stuff is that on the unconscious level, I am afraid of having so many people that I can't connect. So I'm just really tapped into, and because of that, like over the past year, the membership hasn't grown. And I really think it's because on that unconscious level, I'm like, I cannot let anybody, even though I'm marketing it and I'm sharing it, I'm putting it out there. But I think energetically, I'm like, I don't know if I won't, like, I don't know what this will do if more people join. So I'm really tapping into that right now. And I'm excited to see where that leads.
I think that would be a perfect thing for you to work on for the next round of SMA, because it's such a connector thing to go, this is my circle of connection, instead of realizing that you have unlimited power to connect and to, to use all the tools we have. But it's very common for connectors to go, I'm going to cap it at this. And it's totally an energetic thing, because you have all of these, kind of, like connections, energetic connections with people, but not everyone needs to connect in the same way. They get the pure, power of you, but it's that little thing that connector part of yourself would be such an interesting thing for you to explore.
Well, and when I went through SMA, I had them do the quiz to find out what their archetypes were, and they were all connectors. And I was like, oh, but it made so much sense, because I've even had some of them say, well, we would really rather not see this grow. Like, we really like the safe, small, intimate space. And I was like, well, that's not working for me. So it's just been an interesting unearthing to go through that as well.
So to go back to that other question of what's something that either turns you off or makes you feel really excited to buy. And I saw something this week where, because I'm starting to put together now all the handouts for SMA, because of course, during the filming, I just said random things and I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to create a handout out of that now, because I've just said it in the moment. And I was like, oh, there must be someone who has some templates around this. So I found this lady who does templates, but then she's got like coaching options around it. So I was like, oh yeah, I can just create the space and get it done. But the way that the sales page was written was so perfect for my brain, because it was like, if you're time poor and you just want to get it done and you want to do it fast. And my mind's like, yeah, because I can't be bothered necessarily doing it myself. And so for me, that excites my brain, but I'm not always cognizant about what things turn me off when it comes to either buying courses or sales programs or anything like that. So I would love to hear from any of your archetypes, Karen, what things are red flags for you, what things make you hesitate, and what things like make you smash that buy now button.
One of the things that does really turn me off are extremely long sales pages. I could not be bothered. I like something that is really quick and to the point, and an easy yes. And what makes it an easy yes is often just like the energy. Like with you, I had been through Money Boot Camp, so I knew that you were really grounded and really very transparent and real. And that's kind of what I look for across the board. And I don't necessarily know which of my archetypes that would fall under. I think that's probably a little bit of all three of them. The other one, and I think that this might be the connector, is I don't like the fear-based marketing, the scarcity, like the fear tactics where it's, and even like when it comes to making big financial decisions, I don't like when someone's saying like, well, what is this costing you? Like, not working with me, what is this going to cost you? That just is usually like a huge no. Like, I know you're not for me. On the flip side though, because I just did the self-sabotage worksheet from Money Boot Camp, what is this self-sabotage costing you? It sits differently. So doing it for myself and with myself is so different than when someone's pushing that button.
That's really interesting, right? Because it's so hard when you think, you have to think about who you are serving. And I fought with my team a long time ago, the sales page was just basically buy, do you want to buy it? And I think that's such a ruler thing, right? Of going, well, here's the thing, you make up your mind if it's good or not. But then we had the like call outs for it, where you could just press and like what's in the program, because the accumulators need to know what's in the program, or they need to know what the money back guarantee is, or they need the things. And so we're debating at the moment of going, how do we create this sales page? Because we are literally pitching it to all the archetypes in a way. And so our SEO guys are going, well, long sales pages work. And I'm going, yeah, but I don't like them myself. So I totally get what you're saying in that. And that the fear-based marketing, that's that connector side of going, this is really unethical to push people's buttons and to make them feel bad and to trigger people. And because connectors never want anyone to feel bad or feel less than, and so that's that thing of going, oh, yuck, I don't want to make people feel less than, even for a moment, even to connect them to their, what it is costing them. What about things like bonuses and things like that? Is there things that, or you just go, yes, that energy feels right? Because that alchemist part, right, is so about energy and about signs, or, signs in your gut. Like, what are some things that you go, oh yeah, that's that alchemist part going yes or no? Or does it just activate you?
Yeah, I mean, I usually know quite quickly if something's for me or not. What the pitfall, I guess, has been is like, I've never made a bad investment, though some investments have not gotten me the result that I thought they would. Right. So it's kind of like the knee-jerk reaction serves me well, but at the end, I have to also remind myself that the reaction was right, but maybe not the result. But it is just often, I know that when somebody is short and sweet on their sales page, they don't feel the need to, I think it communicates their value more clearly. And I am someone who's constantly like trying to be aware of my own value. And so it's like a nice mirror reflection for me that just lets me know that this person has been where I've been. Like, it just feels like a very conscious decision. And yes, the energy of someone, I can tell when someone's authentic, really.
Yeah, I think that is that alchemist thing too, of just going, it's in my gut, and you might not even be aware of that, right? Because it's just like, it's just a knowing of just going, yes, it is right for me, or it's not right for me. And I think that I laughed when you were saying about the knee-jerk reaction, because there's been heaps of investments for me where I've gone, wow, I didn't get a result, but I learned something from that. Like I paid, I think it was like $18,000 for something. And I was like, that's on me. That's a priceless lesson, not to join programs without asking when the calls are, because they were at 4:30 in the morning, And so I think that is that, maybe that ruler thing of, oh, I can make a lesson out of anything. And the alchemist of, I can make gold out of anything. And I'm always really surprised when people, like complain or try and get their money back from things, because I'm always like, oh, that's a lesson, that's on you. And so I think that's that personal responsibility thing, but also the transmutation of going, but I can learn something out of this anyway, even if it's just not to do that again. That's enough. Yeah. Do you want to say anything last on that one? It's like, it's almost like the being able to make quick decisions. It serves you more often than not.
Well, and I think even as a content creator, like courses that really create a transformation, I learn and utilize that for inspiration. But courses and masterminds that have not been what I needed or wanted, or who, once you're in there, are not what they were marketed to be, are just as valuable, because I think if it doesn't work for me, it's not going to work for the people that I support either. And so it's just valuable information. It can be a little painful, but it is, there's a lesson in everything.
And I just want to, again, thank you both for your time. And I just thought, I could go on forever with this because you guys are so fascinating. But is there just one little message I'd love to hear from each of you? Anyone who's thinking of joining SMA this round, like what's your message for them?
I mean, SMA is going to open up a lot of doors, and understanding who you are energetically and how you can align to that within your business, within your relationships, within your home is going to change things. It's going to make everything feel so much easier and so much more fluid. So that's what I would share.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.